Magic Kings podcast, brought to you by the Great Big Beautiful Dads. Another episode here with us, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for coming back. Every time I'm like, Mike's gonna be sick of this. Like, but so far it seems like you're still pretty enthusiastic. So
I'm having a great time.
I'm glad. Me too. Do you listen to our podcast?
I do.
Oh, I don't. That's weird. No, I do. I shouldn't admit that I listen on Apple and Spotify to get, another.
Got to boost the engagement up a little bit.
That's it. That's why I do it. So anyway, you're driving this episode, or should I say piloting? Because what we're doing is we're going to a galaxy far, far away today, and we're going to a place that I've certainly been to, but that you're like the Jedi of this area at Walt Disney World. Listeners, if you can guess what the topic of this episode is, put it in the comments. But what are we talking about today, Mike?
We're going to be talking about Galaxy's Edge, specifically...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, God, no, I totally blew it. That was great.
No. I'm too excited.
Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios.
And before we move forward, I am a travel agent for Just Add Magic Travel, Steve at justadmagictravel.com, and I can book my first and always love will be Walt Disney World, but Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, other cruise lines, Universal. I want to throw that out there, but we're blasting off to space now, Mike. That's it for me. So I'm gonna let you do this deep dive, and I'll chime in here and there, but I'm ready to be the passenger on the Millennium Falcon here.
Well, I want your feedback too, because I'm a bit of a Star Wars nerd, so I have spent a lot of time in Galaxy's Edge just because I'm kind of a fanboy when I go there, and I've been trying to sucker my kids into being Star Wars fans, so they've seen some of the movies, they got the toys, they have all that stuff. So I definitely want to hear your perspective on some of the stuff as well. I'll start off by just kind of giving an overview of Galaxy's Edge, and then I'll go deep into the rides, and we'll talk food, we'll talk experiences, we'll talk a couple other things as well. We'll dive right in.
Can't wait. And you said you suckered your kids into it. I mean, it seems like it worked. It seems like you've successfully,
great success. They are now Star Wars fans. They have the Legos, they've got lightsabers, which I'll get into later, droids, all that stuff. So it's awesome because since Disney has acquired the Lucasfilm and Star Wars, empire, if you will, they've done a lot with it, and especially adding these sections to the parks, new movies, new shows. There's some great content on Disney Plus, Star Wars related. That's awesome. And actually, I'll start off with the Galaxy's Edge in general. So what it is a separate part of Hollywood Studios that is themed along the timeline of the Disney Star Wars films. So if you've seen Rise of Skywalker, if you've seen the other new Star Wars trilogy movies, that's the theming of Batuu, so when you walk into Galaxy's Edge, you are entering another galaxy on the planet Batuu.
So I'll admit, and I'll say, I am a Star Wars fan for sure as well, but I haven't necessarily kept up with the Disney Star Wars. I watched the new movies with Rey and everything, but I haven't kept up with the Disney Plus shows and stuff. So I know Batuu is in that world of the First Order and the Resistance and stuff. Is That's Batuu right. featured in any of the content as far as you're aware?
It is not, as far as I'm aware. So Batuu is a planet that Disney created to be the park. It's kind of a mishmash of some, if you're a Star Wars fan, some of the worlds that you've seen in Star Wars. So there's a little bit of Tatooine, there's a little bit of some of the other planets kind of squeezed in there. You get some of the features of just kind of the Star Wars feeling. So right away, when you walk in, basically you go through a tunnel. And once you get on the other side of that tunnel, everything is themed Star Wars. They've got, ships, Star Wars ships, they've got an X-Wing, and they have quite a few characters that will walk around and interact. They also, will interact with some of the ships that are on the property. So every once in a while, you'll see Chewbacca and Rey working on the Millennium Falcon. You'll see Rey and some of the other characters working on an X-Wing and going around some of the ships, the Jedi Starfighter that's over there. So it's pretty cool. There's also quite a few First Order stormtroopers that will walk around and patrol, and it's great. They interact with the crowd. They call people out. They pretend like they're stormtroopers. So it's really interactive. They do a great job of that.
Yeah, and can I just say, you just make one point before you go on, is that this is something that I think people who went to Disney World as kids and have been back, in recent years, there's less characters walking around generally in Walt Disney World, and it's more of the like character meet and greets.
Mm-hmm.
So like you used to see, Pluto, whatever it might have been, just kind of walking around. You can meet them, and that does still exist in every part of Disney, just less so. Galaxy's Edge is a big exception to that,
Yep.
and yeah. So I just want to kind of note that.
Yeah, and they have a bunch of characters. So they have Mandalorian and Grogu walking around, which is always fun because it's an interactive. Like it looks like Grogu's alive, so it's like moving around. And it's pretty cool. Animatronic Grogu, Baby Yoda for those the uninitiated.
If you don't know who Grogu is, you got to keep up. Come on.
That's right. I believe so. I haven't seen her, but I believe they have Ahsoka Tano. If you guys are familiar with the new series, Ahsoka, that's a great character as well. Lots of different characters. You'll definitely see Chewbacca. You'll definitely see Rey bopping around, and then stormtroopers are always kind of out and about as well. So I'm going to start off by just kind of going through. I'll go through the rides, but I want to start with a shout out to the trusty old Star Tours ride.
Let's hear it. I'm ready for this.
So, okay, Star Tours is not part of Galaxy's Edge. However, you got to walk by it to get there.
Yes.
Bonus, it's always a low line if you want to check it out, and it still holds up. So if you went on Star Tours when you were a kid and you're going back with your kids, definitely pop into Star Tours because they have updated it quite a bit over the years. Basically, if you know Star Tours, the way it's set up is every time you go on, you get a different combination of tours, if you will. I won't spoil the ride too much, where you go to different planets and you do different things on the Star Tours ride. They have added new combinations for some of the new Disney Plus series. So some of the planets you see in some of the Disney Plus series, they've added to the Star Tours ride, and they've kept it up. If you remember back in the day, way back when it first opened in early years, the Star Tours ship, the Starspeeder 3000, was piloted by a droid called R3X.
Yes.
In recent iterations, they have updated that, so you actually get I won't spoil it, but you get R2D2 and C3PO.
Oh.
And I mentioned R3X because I'm going to call back to him later.
Nice. And I have to say about Star Tours, when we did our first episode and we talked about underrated attractions, and I went with Dinosaur, the next one on my list was Star Tours, because you could say all the same things. Like I had said, Dinosaur's like the lowest weight for what I would call like a major attraction.
Yeah.
Star Tours might actually, like those two, I would say. And it is, A, it's such a great ride, and B, as great as it was 30 whatever years ago, it's so much better now, and it is so underrated. Absolutely.
Yep. Definitely. And you can go on it 5 times in a row and not do the same ride. Like it's different every time. So I love that one.
There's few other rides at Disney like that. I'd say like the Safari is kind of like that.
Yeah.
But there's very few other rides like that.
Yep. And it definitely still holds up. It's a lot of fun. All right. So now that we've got past that, there's really only 2 rides in Galaxy's Edge. I'll start off with Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. My kids love this. I love this. It's a lot of fun. And oftentimes what I've noticed is the wait is actually shorter than the posted wait time. The thing with that is it's a really long line queue. So really, like, maybe it takes you 15 minutes, but 5 of that is walking through the queue and getting into the attraction. And then if it says 5 minutes, you're going to walk right on. There's no wait. Like, and I found that happens quite often. The only time that I've seen the Millennium Falcon ride to have a really long wait is if Rise of the Resistance is down or offline. Then everybody kind of flocks over to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. It's a great ride. If you're, classic Star Wars fans, they have the Millennium Falcon parked out in the park. You can take great pictures. Like I said, Chewbacca's there, and he's usually like working on it or walking around, and you'll see Rey every once in a while as well. I love it because there's different, it's like kind of choose your own adventure. Basically, there's 6 people per pod, 2 pilots, 2 gunners, and 2 engineers. And basically, each person gets strapped in. It's like 2, 2, 2. The pilots steer the ship, and they actually steer the ship, so it's in an interactive ride. The engineers will, have to hit buttons and switches and fix things throughout the ride as you go through. And the gunners will actually have to do like shooting, missiles and things like that as part of the attraction. I won't go into like all the details of what it is, but it's interactive for all of the seats in the Millennium Falcon pod. And you can kind of go through and try different things if you want to ride it a couple times. You can be a pilot, you can be an engineer, you can be a gunner. All of them are fun, and they're all like part of the story of the ride.
That's a great description. I'm particularly, as I said, a fan of the old Star Wars, and you go into the Millennium Falcon
Yes.
as part of like the cute and part of the experience.
Yep.
That is like, to me, like one of the best parts of Galaxy's Edge. Just being in there, it's like, oh, I'm in, like,
You're
I'm
in.
Chewbacca, like,
Yeah, and it's awesome because they've
amazing.
done such a good job of like not just with that one, but like everything you go into in Galaxy's Edge, you feel like you're in the movie. If you're a original trilogy fan and you always dreamed about flying around in the Millennium Falcon, this is your chance. Check it out. It's really cool.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's go to the big dog here. Rise of the Resistance. This ride is awesome. It's so much fun. It is one of the coolest like experiences, right? It's not just a ride. It's a full on experience. So the best way I can describe it, and I just kind of said this with Millennium Falcon, but the best way I can describe it is you are in the Star Wars movies. Like you are in a movie when you walk into the Rise of the Resistance. Now, there's almost like several levels to it where you go through the queue, right? It's a normal line. You start out by going on a ship that takes you into space, and you get hijacked. I don't want to go too far into the details, but you get hijacked by a First Order Star Destroyer. And it is so realistic and so much fun. Like, you feel like you are actually being pulled into a First Order Star Destroyer and brought into questioning by the First Order. There's, the cast members are First Order members. They're stormtroopers. They're bringing you in and breaking you down and being mean to you like you're a prisoner. I don't want to spoil it because you got to experience it and you got to go do it. It feels like you're in Star Wars. I have never experienced anything like that where, like, without spoiling, I'll give an example. So when you watch Star Wars and you see like the laser blaster fire, right?
Yeah.
You're like, there's nothing like that in real life. So like when you watch it on film, you're like, oh, that looks really cool. But like, I've never seen a laser fly through the air and blow up the wall. Well, they do that. Like they make that happen. And it looks like the movie. Like, I don't know how they did it.
Such a good point.
They do that. And I've never seen anything like that in real life. And it happens. So it's like super cool. It's so much fun. It's immersive, and you're in Star Wars. So if you're a Star Wars fan, this is like the quintessential thing you need to experience because it's so cool. You feel like a little kid again, and you're like watching Star Wars for the first time. You're like, wow, this is so amazing. It's one of those things where, like, if you don't do it, you're gonna be kicking yourself later.
Yeah. What I want to say about Rise of the Resistance is, I think objectively, it's the best ride at Disney World.
Yeah.
And you said if you're a Star Wars fan, do it. If you're a fan of how Disney World approaches its attractions and attempts successfully to give you immersive experiences like Haunted Mansion, Tower of Terror, where you could name a million rides at Disney where they really do this. Rise of the Resistance does it to the next level where, like, I honestly would say if you have a kid who is under like 10 maybe and it's their first time going on it, I would recommend that you say to them before, like, hey, anything that happens in here, just know everything is okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, nothing actually bad is happening.
You're gonna be fine.
You really almost feel like, oh, are we actually in trouble? Like, it's just so realistic and so immersive.
All right. So those are the rides. Shout out to Star Tours, Smuggler's Run, and Rise of the Resistance. All right. So I'm going to quickly touch on the food options in Galaxy's Edge. There isn't a true sit-down restaurant in Galaxy's Edge. The closest thing would be Oga's Cantina. But again, not really a food sit-down. It's more of a bar club experience, and I'll go into that in a minute. But if you're hungry, there's two real quick serve options. there's Ronto's Roasters, and that's quick. It's like a hot dog and a pita, and they've got some funny drinks that are, like the Surly Sarlacc drink and things like that are, themed for Star Wars. And then Docking Bay 7 is over by the Millennium Falcon. That's the other quick serve option. This one's really good. I've eaten here a couple times. Everything's themed as Star Wars, but they've got falafel and hummus. They've got fried chicken, ribs, chicken salad, all that stuff. All right, so then Oga's Cantina. This one is really cool because, everybody knows the Cantina band, right? So the Cantina band, you'll hear that played in Oga's Cantina. And as I mentioned, I was going to call back to R3X, aka Rex. The DJ at Oga's Cantina is DJ R3X.
Wow.
So they repurposed the old R3X droid from the original Star Tours, and now he's the DJ at Oga's Cantina. Little fun fact.
That's awesome.
Oga's Cantina is cool because they've got a bunch of themed drinks. There is some appetizer snack bites. There's a flatbread and some other little things that you can get. But if you're going here, it's for the drinks. They have non-alcoholic and alcoholic, so there's plenty of stuff for the kids to have. For, adult drinks, they've got things like the Jedi Mind Trick, or my favorite, the Fuzzy Tauntaun. And for non-alcoholic, if you want your kids to have some fun too, they've got Jabba Juice, Blue Bantha, and a couple other things that are cool themed drinks. Very popular.
Yeah.
You need a reservation. Call your travel agent Steve and make sure 60 days out he reserves you a spot at Oga's Cantina.
Yes, it's definitely a reservation, and they go really quick. A couple things I'll say about Oga's Cantina, because people are really interested in it because it's the Cantina band. One thing is that there's a time limit. I believe it's like 45 minutes.
45 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's unlike a lot of places at Disney World in that way. And it's not like they're rude about it or anything, but it's like, you're timed. And then the other thing to note, if you're going in there with kids, is that it is like a bar in that you're not getting necessarily a table that you're going to sit down at.
That's right.
Like you have to stand. In fact, you could have to stand at like a bar that is, if you go with small kids, like at their eye level. You know what I mean? Like, so
that's a great point.
My sister went with her now husband and two kids, and they're teenagers, and they absolutely loved it. And they just had snacks and stuff, and they were blown away by it. They absolutely loved it. And I've had people go there. I've heard, with smaller kids who hated it, and they just like kind of went in, sat there for 5 minutes, like, what am I doing here, and walked out. And just because they didn't really know what to expect.
Yes.
So if I think honestly, if you have small kids, there's no way to guarantee you're going to have a good experience there. So if you want to try it, go for it. But just be aware. That's what I would say about Oga's. As long as you know what it is and you know what you're getting into, it's really kind of great. It's a great spot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, if you got little kids, Docking Bay 7, I would say, is the way to go. Yeah. They've got tables and stuff. Great food too. So, all right. Last but not least, the milk stand. You know about the milk stand, right, Steve?
Absolutely.
All right. So, if you know Star Wars, there's something funny about the milk in Star Wars. It's blue, or it's green. So, at the milk stand, the milk is blue or green. So you can either choose a blue milk or a green milk. The blue milk is a little fruity. The green milk's a little citrusy. They also have adult versions of the blue and green milk. So you can have your blue milk with a little side of rum. You can have your green milk with a little side of tequila, whatever you like. If you want a nice cool down adult beverage while you're in Galaxy's Edge, get some green milk with some tequila. That's my favorite. And, have a good time.
You're a green guy.
That's right. Green milk. Yeah. I like the citrusy. I like the tequila. That's my thing. No knock on rum, but my choice there would be tequila.
Hey, who can argue with that? I mean, I think you can't go wrong. But no, I like that.
Yeah.
I'll admit something to you that I feel very dumb. I am lactose intolerant, and so I was like, I can't get the blue or the green milk.
It is non-dairy.
There's no milk in it.
Non-dairy.
I was like, oh man, I wish I could try these, but can't do it.
So I believe it's like a coconut milk base is what I remember from my research. Yeah, because I was worried about that too. I was like, is milk gonna taste good with tequila in it? I don't know about that. So
Yep.
don't worry, it's not dairy milk. So
That's one thing I've missed because I'm an idiot. So next time I'm in Galaxy's Edge, I'm getting one of each, and I'll report back.
all right. So again, not a lot of rides. 2 rides, 3 if you count Star Tours. 2 places to eat. Why are you going to Galaxy's Edge? You're going to Galaxy's Edge because, again, you're in Star Wars, right? You're in the movies, you're in the shows. The really cool thing is they've got a lot of great experiences to see and do while you're in Galaxy's Edge. So I'll start with the things you can see. I mentioned before, they've got First Order stormtroopers walking around. They're interactive with the crowd. They'll call people out. They'll get in your face. It's really cool. They'll let you take pictures, but they'll also kind of give you a hard time if you're dressed up like a Jedi. They might, call you a rebel spy. There is also kind of the back of Galaxy's Edge. There is, I believe it's Kylo Ren's ship with a stage-ish kind of area. There's a shop with some First Order themed gifts as well. And at periods throughout the day, I believe it's hourly, they have kind of a stage show. First Order searches for the Resistance. They've got stormtroopers, they've got First Order officers, and then Kylo Ren makes an appearance. So if you've seen the new Star Wars series trilogy, Kylo Ren. He is actually the son of Princess Leia and Han Solo, who has turned to the dark side.
That's where he's a jerk.
And channels his grandfather. If you know the lineage here, his grandfather is Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
So Kylo Ren has gone bad. He was training to be a Jedi. He's gone to the dark side. And now he is basically the de facto leader of the First Order. It's a really good show. He walks, then, from the stage show, they'll walk out in the crowd and kind of get in people's faces and make everybody move out of the way. Really cool, fun to watch. I believe it's every hour. If I look at it, it's like every hour on the half hour.
And you might have said this already, but that's in the app whenever that's going to happen, so you can check that. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you go to the My Disney Experience app and you hit entertainment, there'll be a little star in the back of Galaxy's Edge, and it'll say First Order searches for Resistance, and it'll tell you the times. So that's a great call out. All right, so on top of that, there's Launch Bay, which is not near Galaxy's Edge. It's over sort of near the center of the park, where you can actually meet Darth Vader, Chewbacca, and BB-8. Always short lines, like 5 to 15 minutes. That's it.
Amazing.
So I have met Chewbacca many times. My son is friends with Chewbacca. I don't know if you know this. They're close friends.
I knew this.
They exchange updates whenever we visit Chewbacca. And then if you want, you can also see the man, the myth, the legend, Darth Vader.
Amazing. Low key, I think Darth Vader is one of the best movie characters ever. Period. That's one of my hot takes in life.
And he's such an evil guy, but it's like he's the evil guy. So now we're gonna get to, I'll call them bonus interactions, and I'm calling them bonus interactions because they're a little pricey, but if you're a big Star Wars fans, it's worth checking out at least one of these. So you've probably seen Galaxy's Edge people walking around with either a droid or a lightsaber. Now, there's 2 things within Galaxy's Edge where you can actually build your own droid and build your own lightsaber. It's a Droid Depot. You actually get to build your own droid. You have a choice of either an R unit or BB unit. Now, if you've seen the new Star Wars trilogy, you know who BB-8 is. He's the little round guy with the ball, the little head that sits on top of the ball. He rolls around. And you're watching the movie and you're like, how do they make that thing stay on top of his head as he's rolling around in all different directions? Well, they did it in real life. And you can build it and drive it around in your own home. So if you like BB-8 and you're like, oh, he's so cool, I wish that was like somebody I could have in my house, be my droid, you can build BB-8. You can also build an R2 unit or an R4 unit. So the thing with the Droid Depot, you basically have 2 options. You either pick a BB unit or an R unit. When you pick one of those options, there's different variations of colors and shapes and sizes that you can put together to make your own custom droid. So you're not just walking out with a BB-8 droid that looks like BB-8. You can actually choose between different colors of shells and different colors of heads and shapes of heads and different color combinations that you can put together that make up your own custom droid. You also get to pick what's called a personality chip for your droid.
Hmm.
Now, there's different options for the personality chip, and basically what that is different voices and noises that the droid can make. So when you go into Droid Depot, you pick your type of droid that you want to make. You get set up in a droid station. It's really interactive. There's a conveyor belt that comes by, and you pick your parts as they come by, and you put your droid together. There's an assistant in there that will help you out. They give you a little remote control for your droid, and then there's a spot where you can actually drive it around and test it out. Both my older kids have done this, and it was just a fun thing for younger kids. Again, this is an add-on. You've got to make a reservation for Droid Depot.
Yeah.
It's $120 per droid. So again, a little pricey, but if you're a big Star Wars fan, this is kind of a thing that your kids love about the movies. Is they love BB-8, they love R2-D2. Like, go to Droid Depot and build a droid. It's a really cool experience. They'll never forget it. And my kids to this day still play with their BB droids that they drive around the house, and like I said, they make the BB droid actually work. It drives around. It's really ingenious engineering the way they've built it. So definitely, it's worth it. It's solid. They last a long time. So you're not going to pay $120 and then have the thing fall apart in a week. It's been with us for a long time, and they still use it today.
And how many toys can you say that about? That your kids, years later, still play with it?
Yes. Yeah.
that alone is worth it.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. If you do Droid Depot or even Savi's workshop for hand-built lightsabers, I would recommend that you try to schedule it either before a time where you can pop out and put that stuff either in your car or bring it back to your hotel, or kind of towards the end of the day, because you are going to have to carry it around. The good thing with the Droid Depot is I guess kind of good. The redeeming factor there is they give you a little box that you can carry your droid around in, so you're not just like barehanding it all day and football style holding the droid. You got a box with the handle. You can also, if you want to spring for it, they have like custom backpacks where you can actually kind of sit the droid in the backpack, and it has a flap, so like you can walk around with the droid on your back, the flap open. You can leave the droid on, and it will actually like interact with people and make the beeps as you're walking around. So kind of cool. If you don't mind and you want to kind of show off your droid, that's something you can do as well. But what I've done and what we tried to do was we actually did it really early in the morning. It was kind of the first thing we did because I knew my kids were not going to be able to focus on anything else until they did this, because we kind of told them we were doing it ahead of time. So we did it first thing just so we could kind of get it over with. But again, cool experience, worth it. And what I did is my wife took the kids around and on some rides, and I ran back to the hotel and dropped the droids off. Yeah. So if you don't mind doing that, that's kind of a route you could take as well. All right.
Oh, man. Here we go.
Next is Savi's workshop for hand-built lightsabers. All right. If you can hear that, that is my Savi's hand-built lightsaber.
It's unreal.
It's really cool. So
I love it.
Savi's workshop, you can build a lightsaber. Now, again, another add-on. This one is very pricey. So I would not recommend this for little kids, but if you are an adult or you have older kids and you're super duper Star Wars fans, the lightsaber building is really cool. It's $250 per lightsaber. But there's a lot to it, and it's a really cool experience. So it's not just, go in and pick your parts and build your lightsaber. There's a whole story to it. I'll kind of walk you through how it goes. Spoiler alerts, I'm going to give you the whole rundown of what you can do in Savi's workshop lightsaber building. Now, you go in. First of all, you've got to make a reservation for this one as well.
Yep.
So you show up at your designated time, and they'll give you an option to pick your, call it, category. So there are 4 categories. Number 1, peace and justice. Number 2, power and control. Number 3, elemental nature. Number 4, protection and defense. Now, each of those categories comes with different options of parts, style of your lightsaber, if you will. Now, you don't have to fly blind here. When you go to Savi's workshop and you're waiting in the waiting area outside for your turn, they actually have drawers that you can pull out and look at the different options of styles, so you can kind of decide what you want to do. When you pick an option, they give you a pin. And now, we've heard on previous episodes, we've talked about pin trading. These are actually tradable pins. However, if you're doing the lightsaber building. This one's kind of like a collectible, and I would hold on to it, maybe not trade it. So you get a pin depending on the option you choose. So you put your pin on, and when you go into the experience, they bring you into a room, and you actually go around a big table. The cast members are, official lightsaber builders, and it's a full experience. So it's an immersive experience. So the cast members are into the story. They're telling you, about all the different intricacies of building a lightsaber and all that stuff. They'll also help you build it, right? So it's not like you're like flying blind. So again, you get a building station around a oval shaped table, and there's a couple other people in there with you. I think it's usually like 8 to 10 people, and they'll guide you through the experience. They, tell you, okay, now you're gonna pick this part, the hilt, the handle, the button. Like, you get to pick all the different parts of your lightsaber, and you build it around a frame. The most important piece of the lightsaber, however, do you know, Steve?
No, I do feel like I'm 10 years old because my eyes are wide. I'm just like, what? What is it?
Okay, the heart of the lightsaber is the kyber crystal. Very powerful, force-sensitive crystal. This is what determines the color of your blade. So you get to choose a kyber crystal depending on the different attributes, and they'll talk you through it as you're doing the experience. The options of kyber crystals in the Savi's workshop are red, blue, green, or violet. Now, shout out to my man Mace Windu. That's why I chose the violet kyber crystal.
Shout out to Mace Windu.
Mace Windu is awesome. So I chose the violet kyber crystal. My kids did blue and green. I couldn't bring myself to go red. I didn't want to go to the dark side fully. But if you know anything about Star Wars lore, the purple, you're kind of flirting with the dark side a little bit. So you're not, you're a Jedi, but you're flirting a little bit with some of the dark side powers. You pick your kyber crystal, you put that into your lightsaber, you assemble your lightsaber with all the parts that you've chosen, and now at this part, it's just the handle, it's just the hilt of the lightsaber. No blade, nothing. Now, what they do is they have you insert your built lightsaber handle into a contraption in your workstation, and there's almost like a round window, a domed window on top of the table, and the assistant will help you insert it, and then they go through the story, and then the domed window opens and reveals your blade. Now, it's not on. They go through a ceremony to light your lightsaber, and everyone, swears they're going to be using their power for good, and the cast members take you through, and everyone raises their lightsaber and turns it on at the same time.
Oh my God.
It's so much fun. I would cry. Yeah. It's a really cool experience. So, again, very expensive, but this is kind of like one of those things where it's like a once in a lifetime experience that you're going to want to check out and try it out. I really enjoyed it. My kids thought it was awesome. Really cool experience and a lot of fun. They also give you a little carrying case for your lightsaber. So again, like I said with the droids, if you want to try to pop out and bring it back to your hotel or put it in your car or whatever, that's a good thing to do because you don't necessarily want to be carrying it around all day, but they do give you a padded carrying case. Now, just a kind of a little fun fact, when Galaxy's Edge first opened and they started doing this lightsaber building, you were not allowed to bring a lightsaber on an airplane.
Yeah.
They actually coordinated with TSA and changed the rules. So you can now bring a lightsaber on an airplane.
Yes.
As funny as that sounds.
Yes.
So don't worry if you're traveling and you don't want to check it in your bag, you can actually carry on a lightsaber. Keep it safe, keep it with you, and you won't have a problem with TSA or the airlines. They've worked it out with Disney.
Yes, right.
So, really cool experience. It's going to take probably about, less than an hour of your day, but it's going to be one of those memorable things that you never forget. Like, I still remember second by second, like I just took you through it. Like, that's just for me doing it one time, right? So, it's one of those things where you'll remember it forever. You'll have a really cool keepsake at the end of the day. And, again, one of the things like the droids, they're pretty durable. Like my kids, I probably shouldn't let them do this, but they'll actually like have lightsaber battles with these and like hit them against each other.
Oh, yeah.
And no issues. They don't break. As far as we've gotten so far, they have not broken. So very durable and an interesting keepsake.
My God. You pulling that lightsaber out and turning it on and the noise, that was worth $30. You know, for me to just see it. So
There you go.
yeah, no, that sounds unbelievable. Like I said, I was back as a 10-year-old, just like just soaking that in. When you were talking, I forgot I was
Yes.
on a podcast, so it was
All
amazing.
right. So one final little tidbit of information. If you're kind of looking for something outside the red, blue, green, or purple kyber crystal,
Oh,
maybe you want a little yellow, maybe you want a white like Ahsoka Tano, pop into Doc Ondor's Den of Antiquities.
oh
Now,
my God.
Doc Ondor's Den of Antiquities has some interesting, call it, unique antiquity items that you can purchase. They sell kyber crystals, so you can actually buy different color kyber crystals at Doc Ondor's that you can't get in the experience. You can also get the regular colors, but you could get yellow and white as well. And I think they might have some other ones, but I'm not 100% sure. They also have, if you got deep Star Wars knowledge, they've got holocrons. They've got Sith holocrons and Jedi holocrons, which also work interactively with the kyber crystals. So you can get that, and they've got
What does
other
that mean?
lightsabers for sale.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Explain that one a little bit.
Okay.
That one went over my head.
So a holocron, we're gonna get deep. We're gonna get some deep.
We're here.
Knowledge.
We are in a galaxy far, far away right now. So let's just go.
Okay, so if you've ever watched Clone Wars or Rebels, which are the Star Wars animated series, and I recommend both of those, are really good. Rebels and Clone Wars is really the birth of Ahsoka Tano and some of the other characters that they're now spinning off into live action series. They go into a lot more of the lore of the holocrons and Anakin Skywalker. Holocrons they're force objects that store knowledge and information. And there's Sith holocrons and there's Jedi holocrons. They are powered by kyber crystals, which is basically, again, like the heart of the lightsaber. It's a force-sensitive element that is something very important to both the Jedi and the Sith. So you can buy replica holocrons in Doc Ondor's, and you can get different kyber crystals that work with those items. So, again, also lots of cool pre-built lightsabers, so you can get actual character lightsabers in Doc Ondor. So if you want to get Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber, you want to get Darth Vader's lightsaber, Kylo Ren, you can pick those up in Doc Ondor's. Pretty pricey, but if you're a big Star Wars fan, you want some collectibles, that's a cool spot to go. Stuff you can't get anywhere else. Like, I've looked to try to find some of these things. You can find some of the kyber crystals on Disney's website, but most of the things in Doc Ondor's are on site only. You got to go in there and get it.
Wow. It sounds like an unbelievable. I mean, this is like the boring part of this. It is super popular, and those reservations for both of those things, the droid building and the lightsaber building, are really important, and they
That's
do
right.
book up. We haven't actually talked about this. We've just said 60 days out, 60 days out. It does operate the same way as advanced dining reservation. So it is 60 days out, and if you're staying at a Disney Resort hotel, then you can do those reservations for your whole trip 60 days out, versus if you're staying off-site, you book 60 days from the day you want it, if that
That's
makes
right.
sense. So if you're doing it on the third day of your trip, you can do it 60 days before your first day if you're
Right.
staying at a Disney Resort hotel. So that it gives you a little bit of an edge.
Yeah. So both of those experiences, as we've said, are add-on things. They cost money, but they're really cool. Definitely would recommend. If you're not into that and you want to just go and do some fun stuff, they also have some really cool interactive things that you can do with the My Disney Experience app and the Play Disney app.
Yes.
There is a Batu Bounty Hunters game where you can actually use your magic band and the app, and it's almost like a little scavenger hunt. Really cool if you want to check it out. I would do that if you've got kids. It's like a fun little interactive game you can play, and you go walk around to different parts of Galaxy's Edge and interact with some of the the electronics and doors and things like that, and takes you on a scavenger hunt. So that's it. Galaxy's Edge. A galaxy far, far away, but so close. If you scheduled your trip with Steve, definitely check out Galaxy's Edge.
It's funny. Cause like I said in the beginning, you're the expert on Galaxy's Edge in this podcast, but I had a few notes about, like, okay, just make sure Mike, hits on this and that. You hit on everything and more. So
Yeah.
I have nothing to add other than just to say, even if you are not a Star Wars fan, you don't have to spend all day in Galaxy's Edge, but it's the best of what Disney World does.
Yes.
You absolutely do not have to be a Star Wars fan to appreciate what's going on, but it's not only that it's like to the nth degree, and it's a totally unique experience, but being thoroughly Disney World in its immersiveness and its details. You get chills with
That's right.
the Kylo Ren looking for the First Order. I mean, for the Resistance people, and just all those little things. So it's honestly like an attraction in and of itself. It's just the land,
It is.
which I think there's a few, especially of the newer, like Pandora is sort of like that, but this is on another level, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the cool thing, again, going back to the cast members, right? We've always talked about how great the cast members are. In Galaxy's Edge, they're especially, they're on top of it even more, because they're not just a Disney cast member. They're in the Galaxy's Edge universe. They're in the Star Wars universe. They'll interact with you. They'll talk to you about stuff as they are, part of either the Resistance or the First Order, whatever it may be. If you go into the First Order shop, you're talking to a First Order officer, right?
Yeah.
If you go into the rebel areas, you're talking to people that are part of the rebellion, and they want to know if you're on the right team, right? So shout out to the cast members, as we always do here at Magic Kings.
Yeah, like I said, it is what Disney does best, just like to the nth degree. So
Yep.
So thank you. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Mike. Going into this, the one thing I was like, I know we got to talk about the stupid lightsaber thing, and they'll be like, I'm never gonna, like, come on, it's like $250. I'm doing it.
It's so cool. And you don't need to,
so
like, I have deep Star Wars knowledge, right? You don't need
Yeah.
to have deep Star Wars knowledge to enjoy it and have a good time. They take you through the whole story. They explain everything. They bring it to life. So, yeah, like you said, even though you're not like a deep Star Wars person, if you just know it and you enjoy it and you want to have a good like experience, like that's definitely one to check out if you're willing.
Absolutely. No, yeah, that's a great point. And I think that what you just said applies to all of Galaxy's Edge.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Mike. I mean,
Yes.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
And I can't wait to get there. I'm gonna see Galaxy's Edge in a whole new light, and will force my family to spend more time there next time we are in Hollywood Studios, because I'm all hyped up now.
Yes.
So,
Do it.
and I think Galaxy's Edge it's something that I think people who weren't interested in Disney World at all, and thought, "All right, I'll never go to Disney World," like now they might be interested, right? So
That's right.
And I don't think there's any other single place. Again, Pandora, there are kind of like similarities between Pandora and Galaxy's Edge in some ways. That might be one, but again, this is just like another level. So anyway, this was great. And Mike, you want to take us out with some, shout out to Disney World, shout out to Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I forgot to say it in the beginning. I was gonna say punch it, Chewie, when we started. It's my favorite.
Which one of us do you think is more like a Wookiee?
I'm definitely the Chewbacca here, just based on the facial hair.
Yeah, you do, and we both have beards, but I mean, the hair overall, that's something that I should have said off the top, that Mike's hair,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
You've got
next
the
level.
Han Solo swagger. You've got
That's right.
you've
It's
got
all
the swagger.
It's all in the personality and the good looks,
That's right.
Yeah, I do look like a young Harrison Ford for sure. I get that a lot. Just kidding.
So, Galaxy's Edge, check it out. Star Wars, may the force be with you.